Byron Donalds, you are in the talks with everybody. Everybody talks about you. Stephen A. Smith was here a couple weeks ago. We talked about you.
That's my guy.
I mean, him and many others, left, right, center, everybody sees you as a superstar. When we were in D.C., you getting up there, the applause, the enthusiasm with you is very high, even to the point where, you see that chart, Rob, if you can pull up. This literally happened yesterday. Breaking, Congressman Byron Donalds has surged ahead as the leading candidate for Florida's 2026 gubernatorial race in a four-way ballot. Very close, obviously, with you in second place. 31.3, and then Nunes 4.4, Simpson 2.9, Suarez 1.3, undecided 60.4. Head-to-head ballot, Donalds 33.8, Simpson 5%, undecided 61.2. This was brought out, I think, yesterday is when we saw this. How soon are you planning to announce that you're running for governor for the state of Florida?
Look, before we get to that, this cigar lounge that you have, I think America needs to know I am a cigar guy.
Are you really?
Oh, yeah, I love
Well, then
cigars.
you're fully invited. You got a membership on the house anytime you're down here.
Well, you can't do that because health ethics will come for me.
Well,
so we will figure out a way where I will pay my way into the cigar lounge, and I appreciate you, though. But I will pay my way in.
But you see, that was a different way of me offering Ferragamo shoes to the governor, DeSantis, and he didn't want to take the shoes. And I was kindly giving some nice shoes to him. He didn't want to take it, which I fully understand. By the way, if you're saying
he didn't take Ferragamo,
he didn't take the shoes I offered him. By the way, they were how nice were they?
I wanted them.
Then you wanted them afterwards. We're like, we're not going to do it.
You stole them, Vinny.
But are you saying from the health standpoint? Like from the health standpoint of smoking cigars, or no? Like you can't.
No, ethics.
Okay,
The ethics committee.
Got it.
The ethics committee is the place where nobody ever wants to see the inside of that room. The members that get basically told they're going to be on ethics, because it's not really a thing. Like, you don't go to the speaker and say, "Put me on ethics." Like, he's basically like, "You're going on ethics." It's just the place you never want to be. So, you just got to be respectful of the process. But to the top question. Man, I'm a kid from Brooklyn, New York, so it's really cool to see that post come out. I think about the governor's race in 26, I'm committed to making sure we get the president's job done in Congress. We have so much to do in a little bit of time. We got to get through all of that before I could definitively say what I'm going to do one way or the other. But to see that come out yesterday, I was just like, it blew me away, because like Jeanette, Wilton, I've served with both of them. When I first got to Tallahassee 8 years ago, when I went into the state legislature, I served with both of them. Ashley Moody, who's now a senator, I know her. And so to see those numbers come out, which I didn't know were coming out. I was like leaving Doral, because we had our retreat. I was leaving Doral, and my phone is blowing up. And I'm just like, what's going on? And I'm looking, and you're getting a thumbs up. Ding, 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 ding. Yeah, I'm in. What we doing? What's the plan? Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, whoa. So I called my team, and I go, we didn't release anything, did we? And they go, no, this came out of left field. We didn't know it was happening. So it's really a blessing. It's humbling more than anything else. But in terms of announcements and plans, we're not there yet.
Okay. So then maybe asking a different question. How close are you with Governor, by the way, Governor DeSantis?
We've been better. I mean, look, I never talk about this stuff, but we're here, so we're just going to talk.
Sure.
I think that relationship got frayed when I backed President Trump in the presidential primaries. And I think from the outside looking in, people remember back in 2022 when the governor was running for re-election, I was at the election night party. Like, I introduced him on stage, and we had that conversation. They asked me to do it, and I said, of course I'll do it, whatever you need, because he's been a great governor, best governor in the country. I remember when I first got to Congress, starting to do interviews, I was calling him America's governor, and I still believe that to this day. He's been phenomenal, but when it came to a race between him and President Trump, I had to go with President Trump. I just felt President Trump was the right person at the right time, and I think that kind of frayed our relationship because of that. But, that's politics sometimes. But I think we'll find a way to figure that out and move forward.
Got it. So, when you think about the policies in the state of Florida,
Yeah.
he's done so many things right.
Yeah.
He's the reason why we're here. We love being here. And, a lot of people are still moving here. There's still some issues the state of Florida has, but in specific area of him attracting talent, he's done a phenomenal job.
Right.
We feel the same exact way. But going back to it, what if you were to run, like if you were to say, 1, 2, 3 areas in the state of Florida that we could make better, what would those 2 or 3 things be?
So I look at it slightly different. We're the best state in the country. That's to the credit of Ron DeSantis. It's also to the credit of Rick Scott. And in modern politics, the next name I'm going to say, we typically don't like talking about because how they're viewed in Republican politics. But this whole business of Florida being the best would not be in the position we are today without Jeb Bush's governorship. So Jeb Bush started the transition from a blue state. He had to take on Lawton Childs. And so so if you go back to education policy in our state 30 years ago, it was Jeb Bush's A+ plan in education that started the conservative revolution, first in education and public safety, and then through economic issues, going through the financial collapse in 2008 when Rick Scott came in, and then now to making sure that we are the free state of Florida like Ron DeSantis has done. So you can't tell our story without all 3 of those men. Now, and I leave out Charlie Crist on purpose because Charlie Crist is Charlie Crist. Now, going forward, you got to keep this thing in the middle of the road. That's how I see it. Your job going forward is we're the best, now stay the best. I was talking to some friends of mine, and we were having this conversation. I said, you remember the 91 Bulls? Michael broke through. At the time, it was Michael's he's just a scorer, but he's not a winner. They break through in 91. And then the hardest thing after 91 was not that Michael's the greatest, because he is. It is the consistency to stay the best. 92, 93, 96, 97, 98. And the way you stay the best is you got to be in the gym every morning. You got to make sure you're doing your film study. You got to make sure you got everybody on the practice floor. It's the consistency. So now to your question about what do you do as Florida? Number 1, you keep it in the middle of the road. Number 2, areas for growth. We're already transitioning to be it, but I believe we should be the financial hub of the world in a decade. The digital assets community in Miami-Dade in particular, but throughout South Florida, it's all coming here. And we have to, I don't want to say accelerate that, but we have to focus that. Our economy as a state is far more diverse than what it was when I got here 20 years ago. We're not just a retirement state now. We're an everything state. People are living here, growing their businesses here, bringing their businesses here, raising kids here, going to college here, et cetera. Our workforce has to be prepared for the next wave of our economy. And I'm talking AI, quantum, et cetera. So those are like the 2 big things I think are in front of us. Housing costs are going to be a problem in our state, and part of housing costs is overspending at the federal level. I know we're going to probably get into that. So we have to find a way to stabilize costs so you can stabilize housing costs so construction gets better. I think in a lot of our counties, we have to find ways to streamline permitting because extended permitting only raises the cost of producing homes, et cetera. So that's stuff we got to address. Energy. If we're going to be the hub of digital assets, Florida should be, in my view, the incubator state for small modular reactors and micro reactors to supplement your energy supply so you have more baseload power. So you can do mining, if you're talking about crypto, Bitcoin in particular, if you're talking about blockchain technology and really having to be headquarters here, if you're talking about data centers and all the things associated with the next wave of the global economy. Last piece, and this is like a mix of federal and state. We have forgotten the Monroe Doctrine in America. I think over the last generation or so, maybe closer to 2 generations, our eyes have been fixated on the Middle East, Asia, Europe. And we all understand the historical significance of why that occurred. But in that process, we have forgotten Central America and South America. We need to, as a nation, we need to get back to that because you may not be able to bring all manufacturing back to the United States, but we have to begin that process of bringing that stuff home. And Florida can definitely be a part of that, especially North Florida, between Jacksonville and the Panhandle. That area, you could really do some good heavy manufacturing work up there. But you have to nearshore. There's no reason why Guatemala shouldn't be doing a lot of stuff, manufacturing a lot of things to the benefit of the United States. As I understand it, a bunch of our pharmaceutical industry used to be in Puerto Rico. And then because of, stupid government policy throughout the years, that all moved to Asia. We got to nearshore all that stuff back into our hemisphere. It would cut our transportation costs down. It would cut the costs of Americans trying to do everything on a day-to-day basis to live. Florida is the epicenter of that because of just where we are geographically in the country. So I think that our state, if you're talking about what's next to come, those are the things I think are next. And then the other pieces are you're just fine tuning. We got the best car on the road. So what do you do with the best car on the road? Keep the maintenance up.
So here's a question. The question becomes, you know how you used the Michael Jordan example, 91, they break through, they won the first one, the second, third. I think the analogy to use that would be no one's ever won since Michael. To follow Michael, Derrick Rose tried. He was the youngest guy to win MVP, but they never won a championship, right?
Right.
So what is the pressures of following a guy in a state that the people who voted for him are very, very happy with what he's done? So there's not really because you got to find a crisis to come up, right? Or else it's going to be, well, you have a big shadow of a guy that crushed it during COVID and post-COVID and all that stuff. How do you overcome that with certain people that are going to say, what are you going to do better than DeSantis? He's done a very good job.
I'm honestly not really concerned about that. And the reason why is because unlike sports or business, the job of government is to be in the shadows. And I respect everything that Ron DeSantis has done and accomplished for our state. But I don't look at it in terms of how do I now establish myself? Because if I go through the process with a great state of trying to establish myself, now that's when you start getting cute. And you start making or causing political fights that you really don't need, or you're doing it too fast just to get your name ID up, to make yourself look bigger. I would say at this point, comparing where I am today to where Governor DeSantis was when he was Congressman DeSantis, I have a national name ID, and I'm not even trying to brag about it. I have one.
No, you do.
I was in Miami. I was in Miami yesterday. I'm walking down the street to a meeting, and this guy, I forget the name of his business, and I'm so sorry, sir, because I should remember his business. He came running out the business, and it was one of those reflexology recovery places where they have the cryotherapy and everything. He comes running. I'm just walking down the street. It's just me down the street, sunglasses on, and I'm looking at my phone. He comes running out in his socks. And it was just like, man, I just want to say thank you. And it caught me off guard, but I was like, of course, you're welcome. Like, I just do this because I want people to win and succeed.
He came out in his socks.
He came out in his socks.
Was he Armenian, Assyrian, or Persian? It's got to be one of those three because I'm in my socks right now.
He was Middle Eastern for sure.
There's no question about it.
He was definitely shades lighter than me. I don't even know what it was.
Okay.
But I mean, but to the point of, I don't feel the political pressure that sometimes politicians feel where you have to try to assert yourself to get into the national conversation.
Right.
I think because of the way I've gone about my business, being obviously a surrogate for the president during one of the most, if not the most consequential, one of the most consequential elections in the history of our country, I don't feel the pressure to have to try to create a situation. The job for me is just run the state. And I have no problem giving Governor DeSantis all the credit that he deserves because he deserves that credit. And I think that in politics, what we should be doing a lot more is that when somebody does a great job, you acknowledge that or you give them their flowers or however you want to phrase it. But I don't have to try to find a way to make myself bigger. If I'm governor of this state and all they say about me is he did a great job, but he wasn't Ron DeSantis, I could live with that.
Okay. When you go to vtnews.ai, first 100 days, if you can go to first 100 days. By the way, I think we have 89 days left. Can we just do this question real quick here together? I'm going to vote for mine as well because I think I'm up to date. And my ranking, man, I am way behind with everybody. But what is today's question, Rob, the prediction today?
Will Trump make an in-person appearance at the Super Bowl?
I'll give mine. I'm going to say my answer is a in-person it's saying.
Yes, he's showing up.
I say yes.
Me too.
Is what I'm saying.
Especially with Chiefs and Mahomes.
And that's for 590 points. Gang, go to vtnews.ai and post your prediction. Here's what we're going to be doing, just so everybody knows, okay? We decided to run a contest behind this, And this will go for the first 100 days. So for the winner at the end, when you win, the end of a PBD podcast, you'll join us for 10, 15 minutes to tell us how you made all these predictions correctly, okay? And the competitors in the top 10 cannot be Valuetainment or Lion Holding employees, okay? If they are, and a lot of them are participating, they're not going to be able to compete in this. It's anybody that's not part of the company that'll compete for this. So if you win, you're the top Nostradamus, you'll be invited to come on the show with us and tell us how you were able to make these predictions. What do you have access to that we don't have? What did you use? Did you use ChatGPT or maybe DeepSeek? What were you using? And then the top 10 predictors with active subscriptions to VTnews.ai, you will be invited on your own. Find a way to come down here. We'll pick a date. You'll come out with the launch of our cigar lounge that we're doing in our comedy club. You'll be invited. We'll go to the back of the VIP cigar lounge. We'll have a cigar together. We'll spend 2-3 hours together. The whole crew will be there. Conversations, talking, having a good time, having a drink at the new boardroom cigar lounge that we're launching that will be ready, and you will be invited to be a part of that. So, again, go compete. There's still 89 days left on this, and there's going to be some accelerator points. So some of the questions will be 5,000 points, 1,000 points, 2,000 points. Put it in your calendar. Every day, 9 a.m., a new predictions being posted. So go to VTnews.ai, first 100 days, claim your predictions, subscribe to the membership. Either one of the subscriptions that we have that's paid, you'll be able to participate in this contest that we're running. If you enjoyed this video, you want to watch more videos like this, click here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click here.